When President Barack Obama asked the late Apple CEO Steve Jobs about making an iPhone in the U.S., Jobs didn't mince words. "Those jobs aren't coming back," Jobs said at a dinner with Obama in 2011. "The President of the U.S. and the CEO of Apple have changed. But the ambition of a made-in-the-USA iPhone remains." Defending its reciprocal tariffs, the White House on Tuesday said President Donald Trump believes the U.S. has the workforce and the resources to build iPhones in the U.S. Neither Apple CEO Tim Cook nor anybody else at the tech company have come out to back that claim. But analysts who follow Apple say a U.S.-made iPhone is impossible at worst and highly expensive at best. As it's largely a theoretical exercise, there's a broad range of guesses as to how much an all-American iPhone might cost. Bank of America securities analyst Wamsi Mohan said in a note Thursday that the iPhone 16 Pro, which is currently priced at $1,199, could increase 25% based on labor costs alone. That would make it a roughly $1,500 device. Wedbush's Dan Ives pegged a U.S. iPhone's price at $3,500 shortly after Trump's April 2 tariff announcement, estimating that Apple would need to spend $30 billion over 3 years to move 10% of its supply chain to the U.S. At the moment, Apple makes more than 80% of its products in China. Those products are now subject to a 145% tax when they're imported into the U.S., since Trump's tariffs went into effect this week. Experts say that a made-in-the-USA iPhone would face serious challenges, ranging from finding and paying a U.S. workforce to tariff costs that Apple would incur importing parts to the U.S. for final assembly. There's broad agreement among analysts and industry watchers that it's not likely to happen. Wall Street has doubted for years that Apple would make an American iPhone. "I don't think that's a thing," Needham's Laura Martin quipped on CNBC this week. "It's just not a reality that on the time frame of imposing tariffs that this is going to shift manufacturing here. It's pie in the sky," said Jeff Fieldhack, research director at Counterpoint Research. Apple designs its products in California, but they are made by contract manufacturers, such as Foxconn, the company's top supplier. Even if Apple spent heavily to get Foxconn or another partner to agree to build some iPhones in the U.S., it would take years to construct the plants and install the machinery, and there's no guarantee that U.S. trade policy might not change yet again in a way that would make the factory less useful. The biggest issue with a U.S.-made iPhone is that the U.S. doesn't have the same workforce as China, though the massive number of workers needed to build iPhones is one of the attractions for the Trump administration. The army of millions and millions of human beings screwing in little screws to make iPhones, that kind of thing is going to come to America, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick said on CBS on Sunday. Foxconn builds iPhones and other Apple products in massive campuses in China that include dorms and shuttles. Workers often travel from nearby regions to work at the plant for short periods, and employment surges seasonally in the summer before new iPhones come out in the fall. The well-oiled system helps Apple pump out more than 200 million iPhones per year. Additionally, Foxconn over the years has come under scrutiny for worker conditions many times, including in 2011 when the company installed nets around some of its buildings after a rash of worker suicides. Oversight groups have said that Foxconn's work is grueling and that workers are pressured into working overtime. Despite working conditions, Foxconn hired 50,000 additional workers at its biggest factory in Henan to build enough iPhones ahead of the latest model's September launch, Chinese media reported last fall. But Chinese workers get paid far less than American workers. The hourly wage during the iPhone 16 surge was 26 yuan, or $3.63, with a signing bonus of 7,500 yuan, or about $1,000, according to the South China Morning Post. For comparison, the minimum wage in California is $16.50 per hour. Mohan estimated Thursday that the labor cost for assembling and testing an iPhone in the U.S. would come in at $200 per iPhone, up from $40 in China. Cook has also said that another issue is that American workers don't have the necessary skills. In a 2017 interview, Cook said there aren't enough tooling engineers in the U.S. Those engineers work on and configure the machines that take the sophisticated designs from Apple, which come in the form of computer files, and transform them into physical objects. The reason is because of the quantity of skill in one location, and the type of skill it is, Cook said when asked at a conference why Apple does so much production in China.